part 2 of our Avengers 2 Age of Ultron review. This one will be spoiler full.
I tried to create a suit of armor around the world, but I created something terrible. Artificial intelligence. It's called the Ultron program.
I'm sick of watching people pay for our mistakes.
But by now, everyone's seen the movie, so it's fine.
So let's do it. Let's get into it.
So tell me about some of the parts that you really liked in the Avengers Age of Ultron.
Yeah, whosoever be he worthy shall have the power. Whatever, man. It's a trick.
If I lift it, do I get to rule Asgard?
Yes, of course.
I will be fair but firmly cruel.
Okay, so in the party, when they're all testing out Thor's hammer, that was like a really funny scene. I really liked that scene. But the best part was when Captain America went to his turn to do it, and it budges like the tiniest
Thor's
bit.
acting in that scene was hilarious.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. Like, because you see like through the arm, and you see like Thor, and he just like is like ha ha ha. And then when he does that budget, he's like, ha ha ha, and like goes into the nervous laughter. That was so good. The Thor's hammer jokes were fucking fantastic.
It paid off in the end when Vision finally was able to lift the hammer.
Yeah, that was really cool when Vision lifted the hammer.
So those jokes really paid off to an even more impactful shot in the end.
Well, yeah, and that's like such an easy way to prove that Ultron, or to prove that the Vision is not an asshole. Like Ultron wouldn't be able to lift it. Fun fact, Storm of the X-Men has been able to lift the hammer. Just
oh, really?
Just saying that out
Who
there.
else can lift the hammer?
Beta Ray Bill, which I can't imagine that I'll ever see Beta Ray Bill on the big screen, but I would love it. He is a weird horse-looking robot alien from a planet that's gone now. He's
it's
the last
possible.
Of his race.
Possible.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see Beta Ray Bill in Thor 3.
Maybe. I mean, that would be dope. I'd be really down. But he'd also be good in Guardians of the Galaxy because he does weird space stuff.
There was a teaser to Beta Ray Bill in Guardians of the Galaxy, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe in one of those vases, some kind of artifact.
Maybe. I don't know. I missed that. But if it was, that'd be awesome because I love that character. Making fun of Captain America for language, that was really funny.
How about that Hulkbuster scene, huh?
All right, everybody, stand down. You listen to me?
I love the Hulkbuster scene, although I wish that it had not happened at the tail end of another crazy scene, because I was already kind of like tired from that scene, and then we go into this other crazy scene.
That's true. It did feel like it was being stepped on by the other scene.
It was being a little stepped on, but it was fantastic. I loved it when Tony Stark was punching him over and over, and he's like, sleep, 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 go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. That was like the best. Like, I loved it.
That was hilarious.
I love that the Hulk is like Tony Stark's bad dog. That like he's like the bad dog just running amok, and he's like, oh, sorry, he's like this fucking like sad pet owner who's just like, no, I'm sorry, he's normally not like this.
You could tell that he did love his friend in there.
Yeah. He had built all this stuff just in case, just to fucking contain him if shit got out of hand.
Oh, and how cool was it that there was a flying satellite that shot down new parts when he broke his arm?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was a great idea.
That was pretty cool. That was really well done. I really enjoyed the Hulkbuster
and
scene a lot.
the little containment thing that started the whole thing off that contained the Hulk.
Oh, yeah.
Cage.
Although you gotta have a floor in that thing, because I knew he was just gonna punch it out at the bottom. I was like, come on, dude. Like, he's gonna punch it out. Like, don't put a floor on that bitch. But whatever.
Yeah, but that was a great scene overall. A lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, that was going through the building. That was all. Always really exciting and really fun. And I loved it how fucked up the Hulk looked in that scene. Like, he looked like he was really pissed. Like the way they did his eyes. They made him like he's all dark, like he's been on a fucking 3-day bender or something.
Yeah, and when he spit his tooth out.
Oh yeah, and then Tony Stark was like, "I'm sorry." Absolutely.
Speaking of Hulk, so what's the deal? Where did the Hulk go in the end? The last part, you just see him on a plane flying away.
I assume that he's just going to go into hiding again because he's going through the same old bullshit. But I've heard rumors about them thinking about doing a Planet Hulk movie, which would actually make sense.
The rumor was actually that people thought that at the end of this movie they were going to shoot him into space to get rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, and that really got me thinking about like he a lot of times in the movie they bring up the theme of being a monster, of embracing your dark side, as it were. And I feel like even though the Hulk is a menace, and even though he is gonna fuck some shit up at some point and totally kill innocent bystanders, there's gonna be a time when some crazy fucked up shit's gonna happen, and you're gonna need a Hulk that's super crazy. So it's like you kind of have to like give him some allowances, you know? I mean, it sucks, and he doesn't like doing it either, you know? It's just like, you have a crazy weapon, you know? That's what's gonna happen. Obviously, in the movie, there's a lot of stuff between Banner and Scarlet Witch, and I have always maintained that I don't want to see a Hulk movie, just because he's a really hard character to base a movie around, because he's always like trying not to do anything. So like it's hard to have a leading man where he's terrified to take action. Like that doesn't really make a great leading man. But the idea of a Black Widow and Hulk movie was kind of cool. I was like, I can watch that. But Planet Hulk would be really cool because in Planet Hulk he like kind of gets rid of Banner altogether and like just is hulked out like all the time and becomes this crazy gladiator and saves a planet and becomes like the king of the planet. It's like super awesome. So
is that true? Because in the end, you did see him just as the Hulk, where he seemed to be thinking about himself and sad.
Yeah, the evolution of the Hulk. You know, I mean.
Yeah, we saw that a little bit in this movie.
A little bit.
Speaking of the Hulk, there were rumors that he was going to end up in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but James Gunn has kind of said that's not true.
And then Scarlet Witch, she's got telekinesis, she can move things, and she can get inside your head so that all your worst fears or doubts come to the fore.
Maximoff, girl, she's working you, Stark.
What about Scarlet Witch? You know the comic book character very well, but how about this?
Well, okay, so Scarlet Witch, she's a tough one, okay, because she's got like weird hex powers and like reality bending stuff that's really hard to explain, okay? So they didn't even try. They just kind of was like, yeah, she can mentally manipulate people and like energy blasts or something. And I mean, although I like the way she looked, and when she first uses her powers, when you first see her, they do this really cool like cutting where she like looks like a horror movie person. And I thought that was so fucking cool. I was like, oh, that's so awesome. And then they didn't do it at all for the rest of the film. And I was like, fuck. And then by the end of the film, she turned into Jean Grey, and she just had like crazy telekinetic powers. Scarlet Witch.
Maybe you should tell people what Scarlet Witch's powers actually are in the comic book, because it's kind of vague in this movie.
Well, I mean, it's hard to explain at any time. Her powers are reality bending powers, where she can change and warp realities for people, for the world, it's like really bizarro. It's like I said, it's really sticky stuff, hard to talk about. Also, she's got hex powers, like she can like hex you and like fuck your shit up, you know. She's got magical stuff going on.
So would you say she's an Omega level mutant?
She's on the borderline if she's not considered one. I'm not entirely sure if she's considered Omega level, but she can definitely fuck shit up. And she has before, and she will again. And she's also been a villain, and she's also been a good guy, and they also did that in this, which was fun. But like I said, at the end, I feel like Joss Whedon just really turned her into more of a dark Russian Jean Grey.
So let's talk about Wakanda, because we saw that featured in a Marvel movie for the first time. Tell me about Wakanda and Vibranium.
Okay, so Wakanda is a nation in Africa. Black Panther is the ruler of said nation. This ruler is also very technologically advanced, mostly because it is one of the only places in the world where vibranium is found. Vibranium is a meteoric ore, and it's like this really crazy metal that like absorbs like vibration energies or something. It's not as strong or dense as adamantium, but like you can make like clothes out of it and stuff. So that's cool.
So it is essentially an alien metal, though.
Yeah, it's like a space metal. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was really cool. We didn't get to see Black Panther yet.
Yeah, no, we didn't see any Black Panther, although we did see Andy Serkis, who might be Claw, who might be the villain for Black Panther. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't read these. I don't read these things. I know these is like I don't keep up with it, but that might be a thing that somebody I heard accidentally.
Yeah, but they set that up though. They at least set it up.
You know, fun fact about Claw.
What's that?
So one time Dazzler was fighting Claw, and she absorbs sound, and Claw is made of sound, so she accidentally absorbed him and killed him, and then she was put on trial for it.
So are you saying that you think you're going to get to see Dazzler in the Black Panther movie?
You know, I did mention to Joss Whedon that I'm ready to play Dazzler, so I also planted that seed while I was at the red carpet.
Oh, so you're just practically writing the movies at this point, aren't you?
So hopefully he'll make the right decision, and you know, maybe after the Black Panther movie.
I love that you are using your power to get on the red carpet for the right reasons. To ask the hard-hitting questions.
Abusing my power. Well, the whole problem with our red carpet this time around was that I wasn't able to see the movie before we did the red carpet, which makes it infinitely harder to ask good questions. So
you just asked fluff questions?
So I just ask weird questions. I don't know.
Is that why you've come? To end the Avengers?
I've come to save the world. But also, yeah.
All right, so maybe we should move on to talk about some criticisms, because,
Okay.
the movie's not perfect, and Joss Whedon himself admitted the movie's not perfect.
Well, no
in
movie
some
is.
interviews.
So, No, I mean...
True, but I think he was addressing the fact that, people are going to look at this movie and realize it's not the same movie as Avengers 1, and you don't get the same sensation of satisfaction when it's over.
Well, this movie in particular is this is the first time, just like the Avengers was the first time we've seen, a team-up movie. This is another first where it's okay, so we have the origin, they're together, now let's see them just doing it and being the Avengers, and that's the first time that's ever happened in a movie. So we're on new territory. No one's ever done anything like this before. I mean, no movie has ever done anything like this. No franchise has ever done anything like this. So, and Joss Whedon, I think, really pushed himself to see just how much he could do in this film. And I feel like he found the line. I feel like he did a little bit too much, and now I hope for the next one he learns to pull back a little bit, because even though he made it work and there's so many moving parts, it is a little overwhelming. And I did find myself at the end of the movie, I couldn't remember most of the movie because there's just so much stuff happening all the time that, you totally forget about all the stuff that happens, because when one cool thing happens, it's 10 other fucking crazy things happen right after it, and it gets a little difficult to
I
keep
agree.
up with.
The movie for me felt like it was just a middle. It started in the middle of a movie, and you felt like you're in the middle the whole time and never a beginning or an end.
Yeah, I really agree with that statement.
There were maybe too many characters to really enjoy everything that was going on. Everyone didn't really have time to breathe.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I don't know how they would have had time. The only way is to just take stuff out of it. But I can agree with that situation. I mean, he did try, and he did have every character have interactions and have moments. But all those characters, they just, obviously they have small moments, and, you don't get to do a lot with them. I will say my biggest criticism for Avengers 2 is the villain. And this is something that Marvel's had a hard time with in general, is just finding a good villain. And I just felt like Ultron, I have a few qualms with him. He was so human. Ultron was so human and flawed, and
he was making jokes.
Making jokes all the time, and all this stuff. So I didn't really get the robotic aspect of him. And also, he had a transformer face. I don't understand why a robot can't have a robot face, okay? Why do they make metal faces into human faces where they have 100 different moving parts and they move like a regular face and they have teeth and shit? Why would a robot have teeth? They wouldn't have teeth.
It's thought that the fact that they have lips helps them to emote better, so the viewer can understand what they're thinking and feeling.
No. I don't agree with that.
Do you think that lipless robots are the future?
Yeah, I love the Transformers, how they just had the face, the original Transformers, how it's just a little face. I thought that was cool.
Your robot has no lips, so maybe.
I know, he's fine. Everybody likes him. I mean, people know what his fucking expressions are, so,
But everything overall for me felt too abbreviated. Particularly how Ultron was born in about 2 hours during a party. It was just too fast.
Yeah, it's not Age of Ultron. It's more like Week of Ultron. That's what they should have named it.
Yeah, all the events in the movie happen way too fast.
Yeah, I feel like this movie could have been split up into 2 movies, very easily.
It's a big story. It is a big story.
I heard the first cut was 3.5 hours long, which I would be I wish I could see that, but.
We can tear them apart. From the inside.
But I did get to talk to Joss Whedon, and I accidentally stepped on, with my weird question, the kind of what's wrong with the movie.
The quintessential question.
The quintessential question, which was totally by accident.
Are there any characters in particular you didn't get to do as much with as you want to, and maybe next time around?
Yeah, I did a lot. I'm not gonna lie. With everybody.
I asked him about how hard it was to, juggle all these different characters, having new characters come in, and who he didn't get to have more screen time with, who he didn't get to have more fun with. And, I asked him, who kind of got left behind. And he said that he did a lot. and that nobody really got left behind. And after seeing the movie, yes, his reaction is like, yeah, he did do a lot.
Yeah, I think you could
maybe too much.
You could read from his face. He looked a little exhausted.
Yeah, he did look really exhausted, and
I
fucking
understand
get it. Yeah, I fucking get it. Like, I can't. Like,
he did do a lot.
He is the perfect person for this job. Like, I don't think that there's another director who could pull off the crazy shit that he's pulling off. Yeah, and he did. And like I said, he found the line. Like, I think that he really pushed himself because, as most fucking geniuses are, they get bored and they want to push themselves and, like, do something that's super crazy, you know? Like, they want to see how fucking hard they can go. And I feel like with this, he really did push himself and did do, like, a crazy
I think he may have pushed himself right up to the line, a little bit over the line.
He crossed the line a little bit. But, you know, I have faith that he will, you know, it's a learning process. Like, even though Joss Whedon is at the top of his game, and even though he's a motherfucking genius, you know, it's like everybody still has stuff to learn. You know, this is the first time anyone's ever done something like this. So he's still learning.
This is uncharted territory.
Completely uncharted
territory. Making
a
sequel to a team of superhero movie.
And I honestly don't believe that any other director in Hollywood could pull this off. I don't. Because, like, I just watched this really amazing documentary on Netflix called Showrunners, where it talks about people who are showrunners. They essentially make shows, and they're the point man on everything. And there was this one really funny part where these two showrunners were talking about how they're like, there's no way that you can run more than one show. They're just like, that's crazy. And then it cuts to Joss Whedon. He's like, when I was running 3 shows, you know, it's like, that guy is just like a freak of nature.
Oh, yeah, when he was doing what? Angel, Buffy,
and Firefly. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, man. Like, nobody does that. But he does, and he fucking pulled it off, even though season 4 of Angel did suffer because of that. It did suffer. I'm not going to lie to you, but whatever.
You know, yeah, Joss Whedon, he's a genius for sure.
Oh, dude, he's a total genius. He's a fucking mastermind.
Yeah, I did a lot. I'm not going to lie, a lot.
What'd you think of Hawkeye in the movie? Because everyone really loved Hawkeye.
I really loved Hawkeye. I wasn't expecting to like Hawkeye as much as he made me like him. Like, not that I like have anything against him, but I'm just kind of neutral. I don't really care about his character. And in this movie, I really enjoyed his.
He had a really great line with Scarlet Witch when Scarlet Witch was getting a little tired and disillusioned. She didn't want to go back out there.
She's having a panic attack, right?
Yeah, she's having a panic attack.
She's never been in a full-out crazy Ultron battle
and
before.
He coaches her.
Yeah.
And the lines he gives her are great.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, he's like, he says, the city is floating. We're, you know, up against hundreds of robots. I'm just a guy with a bow and arrow. You know, this doesn't make any sense. And it was great. It was so self-aware.
His delivery was a little bit better than yours, but yeah.
Well, of course. I mean, you know, I don't remember the line exactly because right after this line, a million other fucking things happened. So
it was something like that.
But it was good. I laughed heartily at it. I was like, ha, 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 ha.
So there were rumors believed that Hawkeye was going to die in this movie that were spreading around the internet like wild.
I didn't hear that rumor because I wasn't looking into any rumors and stuff, but I did get the distinct impression watching that movie that he was going to die.
Well, I believe that's because Joss Whedon was giving you the old bait and switch.
Well, that's what he does.
Yeah, everyone thought that Hawkeye was going to die, and then you found out that it was actually Quicksilver who sacrificed himself to save Hawkeye.
Yeah, I mean, that's another trademark of Joss Whedon is that he always kills somebody. You know, he's always killing people off. He's like a little pre-George R. R. Martin or something. But
well, you got to kill someone to have good dramatic tension.
And the whole time in the movie, I thought that Hawkeye, like the tone was that Hawkeye was going to die. Like that was the total tone of the movie. But then when he killed off Quicksilver instead, I was kind of surprised because honestly, Joss Whedon usually kills off your most favorite character, like the one you love the most.
Well, you can't do that yet. We've got a bunch of more movies to make here.
So yeah. So he didn't. Well, I was also wondering. I was like, well, is Jeremy Renner's contract up? You know what I'm saying? Because that's also a big deal in this.
Well, now that I've seen this movie, I'm a big Hawkeye fan. So I'm glad he's not
more
dead.
Hawkeye. I loved Hawkeye. The only, a character that I felt was missing from this that I would have liked to see more is definitely Nick Fury.
Yeah, that's a big problem with the movie.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into that.
Well, let's get into it right now.
So why was it that Vision was able to lift Thor's hammer?
Because Vision is just a really cool dude, and he's worthy. So that's why. He's like a super pure dude.
But I thought Vision was cool. Vision didn't have enough screen time, though.
Yeah, during the fight, I was always like, let's get back to Vision. Like, where's he? I want to see him do cool stuff. Like, I'm excited to see more of him next time around.
Definitely.
I really want to see him and Scarlet Witch start talking, because that'd be really hot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some vision babies.
I don't know if they can have baby. Well, no, with her fucking weird powers.
Is
they
he
might
a
be able to have
fully
babies.
functional robot?
I don't know. Data is. I don't know about Vision. We'll have to find out. You know, I mean, I would assume Ultron would give himself a dick. I don't know. I mean, I would assume so.
Well, he's only half finished, so I guess we'll never know.
Well, no, he was just half
The bottom half
uploaded.
wasn't finished.
No, he's half up. It was the upload icon.
Sure, right.
He wasn't uploaded into his feet yet. You know, his feet weren't uploaded.
So what'd you think about Ultron, the villain of the movie?
I felt that Ultron was the weakest link. In
Really? The weakest link? Why is that?
I don't know. He didn't feel like an AI to me necessarily. Like, he was very human. He was making jokes. He's very sarcastic. He's very cynical. He's always pontificating. He's got, I mean, I don't know. I know he's supposed to be some weird Chitauri AI. I don't know. I don't know exactly what his deal is. I mean, that's kind of a problem. Because it's like glossed over so fast, and then he just like pops up like half baked in the middle of the party, and it's just his fucking face. His fucking face sucks.
I still like the idea of Ultron. I just feel like there just wasn't enough time to really get to know his plot, to get to know him.
I just have never really liked any giant villain that just is like impossible to kill, and there's millions of them. You know, and that's another thing too. In the end of the movie, they're like, we gotta kill all the robots, and that's how we.
Right, because
him.
Ultron, one of Ultron's powers is because he's just basically software. He can upload himself to
but
any
if he's
robot.
Basically software, then why would killing the hard bodies kill him?
That's true. And I think that hits on one of the problems with the movie is that it's not very satisfying when Ultron dies at the end, right?
Yeah. Well, especially like if he's in the internet. I mean, he could be in a toaster somewhere or something. I don't know, a smart toaster.
Right, he could be in anybody's Dell laptop.
And he's so dumb that he would have all of his physical bodies at this one place, and he wouldn't have any of them like hiding out.
Oh,
somewhere.
no, I'm sure that guy's got backups all over the place.
I mean, he would just have them all there so the Avengers could kill them all there. Like, that doesn't sound very smart.
Yeah, that's why the ending doesn't feel very satisfying when he dies.
Yeah.
Because he's just, what his vision says, oh, you're the last one.
And I still don't quite understand why he was doing what he was doing. You know, I still don't quite understand his motivations.
They should have had a line where Captain America's like, we got to take out all the brains. Take out all the brains.
Yeah,
so
the brains in the bots.
So Ultron can't upload himself to one of these other ones.
Yeah, maybe there's like a specific part or something that needs to be destroyed. I don't know.
Right. They don't address they do not address that they need to shut down the internet.
Yeah, because that was one thing. Like, you know, we've already kind of addressed the whole internet thing in the Terminator movie with like the one with the Terminatrix chick in it.
Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines.
And in that movie, they're like, oh, we gotta kill Skynet. We gotta stop Skynet. We're gonna go to this main computer and destroy Skynet. And then they get there and they realize, they're like, oh, that's not how he's in the internet. There's no stopping Skynet.
Right,
like,
but in the time, back in 2003, that was a brand new idea.
That was a brand new idea, and it was an amazing idea. But that happened like over 10 years ago. And so like, you can't now make this movie and then, you know.
So the whole time you're saying you were thinking Ultron's everywhere already.
Yeah, I was like, we're fucked. He's in the internet. We're fucked. I saw Terminator 3 part in bits and pieces when I could pay attention.
Maybe there was a line in there that we didn't hear that we missed. That explained it.
I guess. I mean, was he going to start humans over, or was he going to make techno-organic humans, or just like make a bunch of hymns?
What's he going to do when he does take over?
What's he going to do when he does take over? I don't know.
Well, anyway, it wasn't that bad.
This vulnerable world needs something more powerful than any of us.
Everyone creates the thing they dread. Ultron in the flesh.
I feel like thematically, Ultron was a really great idea. I love, you know, obviously in any story, the hero creates the villain creates the hero, one of those two. And so you have, you know, in the first film, you have Loki, who's kind of like the dark side of Thor. Like, he's a product of like being around Thor, and he's jealous of him because Thor has such great hair.
Because Thor is a god. He's so awesome.
Well, he's got great hair. I think that's really what it boils down to. But,
he's jealous of that?
Yeah. But in this one, you have, you know, Tony Stark, and we see his dark side, and his dark side is what produces the ultimate villain in this movie.
Which is that he's arrogant and chauvinistic and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and it's also the fact that, like, you know, I really enjoyed the scene where him and Captain America are talking, and he's like, he's defending himself to Captain America, saying that, like, well, the point of Ultron is so we can all go home and we can stop fighting and all this stuff. And then I love that Captain America is like, anytime someone tries to stop a war before it starts, it usually, like, it's really fucking terrible and worse than what it would have been, And, like, that's something, too, I felt like I wish they had explored more with Captain America, is, like, they talked about, like, well, what's your dark side? Like, what's your whatever?
Right, because he's the all-American Boy Scout.
Yeah, and I did kind of like the fact that when Scarlet Witch gets in his brain and his greatest fear is being alone. But I feel like the reason that he was able to, because you see him and he's, like, in that weird party, and then she's like, let's go home, and then, like, all of a sudden he's by himself. But the thing is, he lives that, like, every day. Like, his greatest fear, he lives it every day. Hence why he was able to recover faster than some of the other ones, because he already is, like, confronted with his greatest fear. He's already confronted it. So if you've already confronted it, it's, like, not going to fuck you up.
Well, they also did address the fact that, because he is basically a soldier, he doesn't have anything to do unless there is a war.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I wish they had explored. And I wish that had been his fear of, like, instead of him being alone.
Yeah, he says he wants peace, but...
Yeah, I wish his fear was that he realizes that he's lying to himself when he says he fights for peace. It's like, no, you fight because you're good at fighting. You're not fighting for peace to stop fighting. Like, that doesn't...
It is a problem.
It's a problem. And I like the idea that, that he doesn't know what to do with himself without a war, and how that means that he subconsciously would want a war happening at all times, which would be, that would be a fucking contention, within his character. That would be really interesting. But yeah, that's not the direction they went with it. Which is fine. The thing that they did worked too, Wasn't necessarily as compelling, though. I felt like it could be more tension. But I also did like that, that Captain America understands that wars are cyclical, and that, like, sometimes they, like, have to happen. They come around, you have to fight, and then it's done. Then you have another fight, and then it's done. It's like, okay, I like the cyclical aspect of it, because it's like he's not worried about there ever not being another war, because he knows that that's just how humans are. Like, he knows that there's always going to be a fight, because that's what we do.
Let's talk about more of the criticisms of the movie. Besides the fact that Ultron wasn't maybe the strongest character, the strongest villain of all time, I felt like I really missed Nick Fury in this movie. We missed the sort of the team leader. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like, I've always said this. I've said this before, is explaining my feelings of X-Men and Avengers, okay? I gravitate towards X-Men because the X-Men are a school and a family, all right? The Avengers are a football team, all right? I'm not a big football person, more of a learner person. So I've always recognized them as a football team. And, like, Nick Fury in the movies has always been their coach, okay? And if you look at Avengers 1, I mean, it's essentially a sports movie from the 80s where, like, you got the old coach and he's trying to get the ragtag team of unlikely misfits together to, come together and win the game at the end of the fucking thing.
Against the team that always wins.
Yeah.
The evil team that always
wins. Against the evil Cobra Kai, whatever team.
You're right, it is a sports movie formula.
It's definitely a sports movie formula. And the thing is like, with sports movies, it's just as much about the coach as it is the players. And in this movie, you have the sports team, but you don't have the coach. You do not see him until the very end. And, you kind of need that guy to, he's like the glue that kind of bonds them together, I mean, the X-Men have Professor X,
I think that's a really good point. So that's why we missed Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. so much. It was a team without a coach.
Yes. Yes. And I get it. I mean, he's off. There's no more S.H.I.E.L.D. They have to do the Hydra thing. He's trying to take care of Hydra stuff.
So we've all found out that Age of Ultron will have an extended version when it comes to DVD and Blu-ray. It's going to be 3 hours long. The first cut was 3.5 hours long. The theatrical version is 2.5 hours. So we're going to get quite a lot of extra footage, and I feel like there's room for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see, what other footage there is and what other endings they thought of. And
supposedly, there was a scene with Captain Marvel potentially teased that was cut.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
How do you feel about Captain Marvel? Tell me about her character.
Because she is legitimately a super badass female. I think she's a really great role model for, like, little girls who want to get into superhero stuff. I think that little girls are really going to respond well to Captain Marvel. I mean, she's like, her whole deal is she was a part of the military. She's a pilot. She's a badass pilot chick. and she comes upon some Kree wreckage or something with Kree shit. She gets zapped by it or something, and then she gets powers from the Kree stuff, which Krees are like an alien race. You know, you have your Shi'ar Empire, you have your Kree Empire, you have the Badoon. What other assholes are there? The Skrulls, you know, those dickheads. But yeah, I'm excited about Captain Marvel. We'll see. She wouldn't be my first pick necessarily, but I understand why they're using her, and she's an integral part of the Avengers, so I could see it. Especially since, you know, who knows how long Scarlett Johansson's, you know, contract is for, so it's like they're gonna need another female fucking character at some point, so...
But you're a big fan of Miss Marvel, the hit comic that's out right now.
I am a big fan of Miss Marvel, and, you know, she could potentially end up in these movies because she isn't a mutant. She's an Inhuman, so that could be really neat.
Oh,
yeah,
so you'd be more excited for Miss Marvel than Captain Marvel.
I would be definitely more excited for Miss Marvel than Captain Marvel, although I am excited for Captain Marvel.
Oh, how'd you feel about Scarlett Johansson in the movie?
I really liked her character in the movie. I thought she was great. I felt bad that Banner, you know.
How'd you feel about the love story between the two of them?
I thought it was hot. I never thought about that before. I never thought about those two characters getting together, but I was totally okay with it. I totally understood it. I liked it. I was so mad that Banner left her behind and ditched her. I'm so mad. I am so mad. And, you know, let me tell you one thing that I did not like, though, about their interactions is when it finally comes out and, like, the Mistar window and they're in the Hawkeye safe house thing and they're talking and he's like, says to her, you know, I can't have a family and a house and kids and I can't give you that. And it's like, dude, you're making a lot of fucking assumptions right now, okay? It's like, dude, she's just asking to, like, hang out with you and have sex and have fun and date. Like, she's, A, like, you're going straight from that to kids, and B, why on fucking earth would you assume that a woman like Black Widow would want to be a housewife? You think she wants to get married to you and be your subservient housewife and just have your children and raise children. You think that that's what this woman who is a super spy, crazy bitch, wants, like, you think that that's what she wants. That's her ultimate goal in life. I also was
under the impression that she was just setting up some kind of, you know, date scenario, not necessarily a long-term relationship.
Well, she just wanted, yeah, it's just like, let's fucking hang out and see what happens, you know? Whatever. Like, you may turn into the Hulk and piss me off and try to kill me, and then whatever, we're broken up. It's fine, like...
And he just went all the way to the end scenario.
You really think the Black Widow wants a house and kids? Really? It's like, this bitch is going to be doing crazy missions. That's what she loves to do. That's what she's good at. Like, she's fucking... Whatever.
Probably the only person that is right for her.
Yeah, I know. She's like the best person for him. And he's like, psh, just, I have to torture myself. Oh, you know. Although I did really appreciate when... the beginning where Thor or when Black Widow is trying to make Banner feel better about hulking out and being crazy, you know.
How she de-hulks him.
Yeah, and then Hulk. Well, then they ask Thor, you know, they're like, oh, you know, tell Bruce something to make him feel better, and he's like, your enemies at the gates of hell are all screaming. And he's just like, Banner's just like, this is not what I want to hear right now. Like, it was so cute because their perspectives are so different.
What were your favorite Thor scenes in the movie?
I mean, any scene where I can see his giant arms.
Oh, come on.
Oh, gosh. I don't know.
You humans with your body part fetishes.
I know. We do have, you know, it's hard not to appreciate that. I don't know. I don't know. I think my favorite Thor moment was when they're at the party and he's talking about this. He has like a flask with some crazy Asgardian ale in it that'll like fuck your shit up.
Oh, the Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah, and then Stan Lee's cameo was in there, and that was my favorite Stan Lee cameo thus far. Where it was just
Speaking of Stan Lee, you got an exclusive Stan Lee moment with James Gunn on the red carpet.
I did. They fucking
roll that footage.
Thank you for making me famous.
Yeah, you weren't famous at all before me.
That movie of yours was so great. I am so impressed.
Well, you know what everybody says, you know, without the character of the crazy old man on Xandar, that movie falls apart. And that's what I agree. That's what I found, you know.
What's your next movie?
It's, you know, strangely enough, it's called, you know, Crazy Old Man on Xandar.
That's me!
Stars
you son of a gun, you named it.
You're battling Thanos by yourself in hand-to-hand combat.
Finally, it's more than a cameo.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you. Hey, James, good. Can I get you guys a little over?
Sure.
I made it work.
I got Stan Lee to do an interview for me.
I was just talking about you 2 seconds ago.
Really?
I said that, this is all just because of Stan Lee. Stan Lee's the one that took, in the 1960s, took the soap opera and the superhero and merged them into one so that we cared about their personal lives.
If I had known he was talking that way, I wouldn't have come in and interrupted that way. Great seeing you.
My hero.
See you again.
My hero.
Right here.
Sorry.
They fucking did a fucking bit in front of me. Like, I don't know what happened. I was just standing there and
I'm not sure if that was a bit or not.
I don't know if they rehearsed that or if they're just, I think they're both just really great showmen. So like they're able to just do that. I hope that I'm on that level one day because they were like so witty and they had like really great like responses to one another. So that was pretty magical. That was a magical moment. Old Stan Lee, man, I've been orbiting around him for a while. Like not trying to, it's just he comes into my path a lot. I don't know what that means.
It means Stan Lee is everywhere.
Sure. Certainly in LA. What was one of your favorite scenes, Space Brain?
One of my favorite parts was actually with John Cheadle's Iron Patriot or War Machine character when he tells the story and Thor is like, "What? That's it? It's over."
I know.
And then Thor realizes, "Oh, I'm making him feel bad."
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, cool story, bro." Like he cool story bros him, and it's so funny. And then when you see Don Cheadle and he goes up to a bunch of normal people and he tells his story.
Tells the same story again.
He tells the same story and they love it. They eat it up, and he's like, "Yeah."
And then it pays off in the end again.
Yeah.
When he says, "Time to get a new story."
Yeah, that was really cute when he finally gets called in to help the Avengers, and he's so excited because now he gets to play on their football team and get some cool guy stories so he can get laid at parties, you know?
Yeah.
That was really adorable. Just that, God, I wish that party scene was just like the whole movie, man. That was like my favorite part. I want more of that. Like, I loved it when they addressed the fact that Gwyneth Paltrow and Natalie Portman are too good for this shit. And how they're both not in the movie, you know? Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, where's your girlfriends at?" You know? And then Thor and Iron Man start getting into this girlfriend competition of going back and forth of whose girlfriend is, like, cooler and hotter or something.
What was your favorite action scene moment in the movie?
At the moment during the Hulkbuster scene where Robert Downey Jr. is punching him in the face and telling him to go to sleep over and over again.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I think that might be my favorite too.
That was really good.
There were some really good, extended sweeping shots that they did in Avengers 1. They did that again twice.
Really good.
Yeah. Well, I really, again, it's like, it's so funny because my favorite part of superhero stories is the mundane aspect. But I loved it, like, during the scenes where they are doing these crazy action stuff, they will take moments to, like, acknowledge how crazy it is. And, like, I remember, like, Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch, or Hawkeye and Black Widow were in a car together, and they're just, like, talking about something that's, like, a normal fucking thing. Like how he's going to refinish his kitchen or something. I like that sort of stuff. I was always into that sort of stuff.
So let's wrap it up. What'd you think overall?
I think the Avengers 2 is really great. Totally worth going out and watching. Worth watching a couple of times. I can't believe Joss Whedon pulled it off with all the crazy moving parts that he did have. I'm really excited to get the Blu-ray and watch the deleted scenes, the alternate endings, see the longer cut, listen to the commentaries. I have so many questions. I can't wait to get these answered on that Blu-ray.
That's true. Usually I don't like extended cuts, but maybe this extended cut will make the movie feel more balanced.
Yeah, this is one of the few movies where I felt like it did need more. And that's
more time.
And
not more stuff, more time.
Yeah, more time with the stuff that it had, And I usually am like, God, cut 30 minutes out of a fucking movie. There's so many, like every other movie needs to have 30 minutes cut out of it. But this one could totally have another fucking hour and it'd probably be better.
Would you like to go see Avengers Age of Ultron again now?
Yeah, I'll go see it again. I'm also going to go see Ex Machina coming up. I'm going to do that. I am.
That looks so much like a thing you're going to zap me with.
I know, it looks like a taser. I know.
All right, so I have a big comic book audience. We read a lot of comic books. And I know that Angela just got in the Marvel Universe. Is there any way that we're going to see Angela in a Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
People have so many questions about so many characters from the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I can't answer that. I mean, there's We're going to have 1 or 2 new Guardians in the next movie, depending on how you look at it. Maybe even 3 if you look at it a certain way. But the truth is I really want to get to know the 5 Guardians that already exist a little bit more, and that's the first and foremost important thing.
So we can look forward to seeing more character interactions in the second one. Awesome.
Definitely.
I'm so excited.
Definitely, I think you're going to be able to get to know some of the characters that we didn't get to know as well in the first movie. A little bit more about Gamora, a little bit more about Nebula, a little bit more about Yondu, and we'll be able to, take their characters to a deeper level.
Yeah, I hope to see Gamora kick some more ass this time around.
Me too.
I sure did, and it was fantastic. He was very well spoken and funny, and had lots of really great retorts about everything. And I was asking about Angela, if we were going to see Angela in a movie at some point, because that would be like.
Angela, is that a character you really like or something?
Yeah, let me back up here. Okay, Angela she was originally from the Spawn universe, okay, but Neil Gaiman created her, all right? And supposedly at Image, people who create characters, they keep that character. That's not owned by the company Image or whatever. So later on in life, for some reason, McFarlane's like, dude, you don't own Angela, I own Angela. And Neil Gaiman's like, whoa, that's not what we fucking agreed upon, bro. So it was like there was this weird court battle going on, and eventually Neil Gaiman gave Angela to the Marvel Universe just as a fuck you to Todd McFarlane, in my opinion. But what they've done with her in the Marvel Universe is really great. She's a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy team. She also has her own title right now that's like super awesome. And like, I wasn't expecting to like her character at all, but I fucking love her character in the comic books, and I would love to see her on the big screen. And like I said, that would just take that fuck you to like a new level if you took the character that he claimed he owned and then put her in like a super like $1 billion grossing
so
Disney
you want to
movie,
see this character not because you really like them, but because you want to see a spite story take it to its furthest.
It's both. It's got multi layers that I like.
So you just had to ask him about that, huh?
Yeah, I did, and he was like, I can't say anything because they can never say anything. But I was trying to at least plant the seed in his head, like maybe if I said Angela to him, he'd start thinking about it, and maybe he would put her in there eventually. I don't know. Who knows?
This pink-haired girl sold me on the idea that
it's a great idea. And like she's like her and Gamora are like killing buddies, and like it's really cute. Like I don't know, it's really nice to see 2 badass females getting along.
I have a question about Guardians. So in the movie, when Star-Lord gives Yondu the orb, and he does the old switcheroo. Did Yondu know that it was like the wrong orb, and he just like let him do it because he loves him like a son?
You know he did.
Aww.
You know he did, because when he opened it, you knew. Why would he open it? I mean, come on, Yondu's not that dumb. He's not going to open it and knowing that he's going to get it, blown into pieces.
Are we going to see any more interactions with Star-Lord and Yondu coming up in Galaxy 2? See some more between those two?
I should hope so.
Me too.
What, are you looking forward to it?
I very much am.
Who else would you like to see Yondu have a bit more interaction with?
Gamora. I would like to see them get into it. Yeah.
Get into it?
Yeah, like I can see them.
Well, I thought you were going to say get it on or something.
Either one, you know.
Come on.
Well, it's passion either way, fighting, loving, it's the same stuff.
Blue and green. Sort of mixed.
Analogous.
It's good stuff.
Absolutely.
If Yondu takes on one of the Avengers, who would you rather him take on and fight?
I don't think he'd want to take on any of those guys. Yondu's a very powerful entity, and his weapon of choice is not something to mess with. Let me tell you, that's for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You guys.
Robert Downey Jr., I learned that he's like Tony Stark in real life. His attitude, he's great.
I'm with Brian Tyler, the composer of Avengers 2 soundtrack. Now, you also did Furious 7, which I recently just saw, which was awesome.
Oh, good.
Do you enjoy doing soundtracks for more like epic action films? Is that something you specialize in?
It's kind of become that, I like doing all kinds of films, but I think there's a certain affinity I have for these kind of films because they're just what I grew up wanting to go to see. Like, you wait for the summer for those big, epic mind blowers that you want to be taken away on a journey. So for me, like fantasy films and big epic films, I don't know, I'm just partial to it.
Are there any new character themes that are super badass that we should look out for? Like, what's your favorite character theme that you've come up with?
I think, Ultron, Ultron's pretty badass. and I think, the interesting thing about Ultron is that he's dangerous and he's scary, but he's funny. You know, Spader's delivery is very twisted and dry, and he does does some crazy stuff, and then has a line right after. So the music had to kind of dance around that.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of fun for me.
Today on the show, it is Space Brain and I's. Space Brain. Today on the show, Space Brain is fucking me up. Today on the show, Space Brain and I are going to give you our mini spoiler-free Avengers 2 review.
Yeah, that's right. I'm right here, and when I talk, I should probably turn my head and acknowledge that I'm talking and not look like I'm dead. Oh, I'm dying. Oh.
Oh, God. Oh, Space Brain.
Oh, can't take it.
You're already cynical. You've only been here for like a month, and you're already jaded. Okay, great.
I should probably turn towards camera. Towards camera.
What happened to your voice?
We got new voice.
Why are you upside down right now, Space Brain? That's so weird. I didn't know you could do that.
I'm back. Okay, I'm back.
Are you even drinking? What are you?
Oh, you won't believe it. I had some of that Thor juice from Asgard.
How do you even drink? You don't even have a. How would you even?
He was trying to dump it on my head, and I get really obliterated.
That's cool. I wish it was that easy for me. He's passing out again. All right. Well, we'll get back to Space Brain in a minute. He's going to take a break. He's going to sleep it off.